All right, guys. I am actually having a panic attack. A really mild one at the moment, but so I'm kind of getting over it. But I wanted to talk through kind of the symptoms I get, everything else, and kind of talk through what I've experienced, just to be candid and hopefully just to help people who have gone through something and also know like it's normal. Like a lot of us struggle with it. So I have OCD. And I have OCD with I get like intrusive thoughts, and so I'm not medicated, and I had it since childhood, and I've always struggled with it for basically my entire life. And but I learned to cope with it over the years more and more, and so now I have it down pretty well. But I definitely notice, particularly like hyperfixation. That's something I am very much so. So like you'll notice the way I post on here, or like the way I apply myself to my business. I get hyperfixated, and so really beneficial. But so with that, I am super sensitive to like anything in my body. Like I notice if something's off. I notice how I'm feeling. I notice every little thing in my personal body, which is interesting. So I'm not a clean freak per se or anything like that. Um, but with that, a panic attack when I'm having it, generally what I'll notice is I'll start having this tightening of my chest. And normally I'll notice a tightening happen a couple weeks before the big panic attack or even a month before. And then of course like a me being me, I keep, doing my thing. And I'm very sensitive to caffeine, so I keep it under 200 milligrams a day at most. But I really like caffeine, so that's partly why I'm cutting it out as well. But so I start feeling my body, and then I'll start noticing like I'm having difficulty breathing. And then from that, normally I'll notice my arms start to go numb, as well as or my legs start to go numb. And so I just have a numbness that goes across my body. The big thing too is my pupils get super dilated as well. And so they'll either get like super restricted, and suddenly I'm like about to faint, and like everything is kind of fuzzy, or they just get like wide as can be. It looks like I'm on like some kind of hard drug or something, and it's really strange. And it happens, and initially I start being like kind of hyper aware to everything around me, and then normally the days before the panic attack, I notice like I'm really aggressive. Like I'm really like not violent, but I'm just very just like aggressive and like kind of irritable and like go with everything, or just like like I'm in traffic like what's going on like I'm not that way. Like I'm very relaxed naturally, and that'll happen. And so then normally every time I wake up and just I can tell something is off. But I kind of go about my day, and then I feel like this tension from like my stomach is rising up until finally it kind of hits me all of a sudden. I just have this numbness over my body. And I'm just like, and then I got the tunnel vision, auditory exclusion. So I had it this early this week, and so literally, people were having conversations with me. I couldn't hear a thing they said because I had the auditory exclusion. The tunnel vision, like whenever I'm looking, like my peripheral vision is kind of gone, and even at the moment, my peripherals not the best. I can sort of see, but not the best. Like so, it's pretty good now because I can see that. But when I'm in the middle of it, it's like that's all I can see. Is that straight line? Same fight or flight. The other thing is when I come down from the panic attack, when I come down from it, I have like crazy cortisol for a minute, and then I have like hyper, so they have the adrenaline cortisol cocktail mix, and so like I won't be able to sleep, and then I'll have like a crash followed by this insane amount of energy, then a crash but another insane amount of energy, and so I kind of have to regulate that. So it takes me about a week to recover, and so today I ended up having kind of another one, mild panic attack. Again, like I was talking to someone and suddenly I realized like, oh my gosh, like they're getting blurry. I feel like I'm about to pass out. And so I was able to kind of end the conversation a good note quickly and then be like, go, leave. I was able to get home safely. I was able to get home. I just sit in my car a little bit before I drove anywhere. And it wasn't a long drive, so don't worry too much. Um, but I have this numbness in my arms, my fingers, everything. So to snap myself out of it, the big thing I'll do is kind of just move is just move, kind of like wiggle. It's weird. Deep breathing. If like I live by the ocean, so if I can go swimming and just get in the ocean and swim, that helps. So I'll probably actually do that after this, but I'm kind of depleted at the moment, so I'm just breathing, relaxing. And so then I'll go through it, and you have the anxiety, everything else. I don't feel anxious at the moment, really, but I do feel like this tightness, like everything's almost collapsing, if that makes sense. Um, but I know it's not real. I know it's my body's response, and I know my body's in fight or flight, and this is normal. And I've worked a lot with like combat veterans and stuff like that, and you gotta do something to snap yourself out of it. And a lot of them tell me like this is really normal for combat. Again, I'm not an expert, so correct me if I'm wrong. Please do. I hope, but I can only speak from my experience, as I'm speaking of. And then generally, when the panic attack is over, and I had one time went, I only had one serious one like that really, but when that happens and the panic attack is over, like even now, I still feel the numbness, but the feeling is coming back in my hands like crazy, which is great. So good sign. Uh, I'll feel like just like this blissful relaxation. I feel like almost borderline euphoric, like oh my gosh, like, and all the oxygen because all the oxygen's coming back. Because like I realized too, like earlier, like I'm not breathing. It's all restricted, and so you'll think you're having a heart attack at first. So if you haven't experienced it, it's really terrifying. But for me, this time of the year, September or October, that's always been when I've had my massive panic attacks. Always when it's a seasonal change, when it's gotten drastically cold, like what happened here, seasonal change, the pollen, allergens, everything else. That's what's happened. And so this has happened to me multiple times in my life at this point, and every time I've had a massive panic attack, this happened. And I'm thankful this happened one year in October as I was driving my car and I got the hardcore tunnel vision. That was terrifying. And I was able to pull over, but I thought I was going to die. Thank God. Oh my goodness gracious. But even like now, like I was able to call a friend, and just be like, hey, listen, I'm having a panic attack, and just like, well, and they're a medical person. They're like, hey, can you just kind of talk me through it for a moment? Just beautiful. Just make sure I'm doing everything right, and I am. So I'm sipping on my magnesium supplement, some zinc. I'm sure my body's depleted, so I'm gonna go get a great big meal, like a steak or something, just refeed, relax, let my body recover, and just get over this thing. And also for me, like I'm religious, so prayer, being happy, listening to positive music, moving, dancing helps me a lot, and just dancing and moving or something, just to get those jitters out, and just like let yourself just not feel it. And that's what helps me through it. I'm not sure what helps you, but if you have one and you struggle with it, it runs in my family. We all deal with them. So if you struggle with them, you're not alone. Like, don't be ashamed of it. Don't be embarrassed. Um, some of the most successful people I've ever met struggle with anxiety and panic attacks as well. This is normal. But anyway, guys, you are loved. I care about you. Thanks for bearing with me in my pink bathrobe. It's so comfy. It's so pink. I just find it hilarious. It's like my bachelor bathrobe. I find it entertaining. But anyway, guys, I love you all. Thank you for being here with me, and thank you for letting me share my story. Anyway, adios. Subscribe if you like. If not, that's fine too. I hope this was beneficial. Have the best of your life, right? Bye bye.